This is Algebra 1, Lesson 10C, Conversions of Area. It includes examples 10.5 and 10.6. Now, we've done conversions of linear measurements in a previous video, so we know how to do conversions using unit multipliers. But today we're going to start doing conversions of area, okay? So we still do it the same procedure. We're going to start with the number they give us. Use 2 unit multipliers to convert 44 square inches. So that's the number they're giving us to start with. So we're going to write that. 44 square inches. I could write like this, square inches. That means inches times inches. So for purpose of this problem, I'm going to leave it as inches times inches. And you'll see why in just a little bit. This is still 44 square inches. Now, we need a unit multiplier. And it tells us we're going to need 2 unit multipliers. So let's go ahead and leave a space for 2 unit multipliers. And we know that our answer is going to end up in square centimeters. So we should end up with some number of square centimeters. Now, where do we get our unit multipliers? Well, remember it's called unit because it's equal to 1. Okay? Something that's equal to 1. Now, we've got to use the units that they gave us. So we're trying to go from inches to centimeters. And we know something about inches and centimeters. We know that 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. That means we could write it as 1 inch over 2.54 centimeters, or we could write it as 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch. Both of those are equal to 1 because the top and the bottom numbers are equivalent. 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. So it's just like multiplying by 1. It's not going to change the value. Now, how do we choose which one? Well, we have inches here, so we really need inches down here so that they will cancel out. So let's pick this one because it's got inches on the bottom. So we're going to do 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch. Let's go ahead and cancel. I'm going to cancel an inch with an inch. But do you see the problem here? I'm still left with this inch because this inch only cancels with one of them, right? So what I'm going to need to do is do the same unit multiplier again because I really need this to go away. The other clue is I need to end up with centimeters squared, but in the way I'm going right now, I just have centimeters, okay? So I'm going to use the same unit multiplier again over 1 inch, and this inch is going to cancel with this inch. So now I have this computation. I'm going to have 44 times 2.54 times 2.54 centimeters squared. And that's actually how they leave the answer in the book. Now, why do they do that? Why do they not multiply it out? I think there's probably several reasons, but what I'm thinking is they just want you to be able to understand the process and not get bogged down in the computation and miss the problem just because of a little, a decimal error or something. Also, a lot of times in Algebra 1, you're using a calculator anyway, so getting to this point is sufficient. If your teacher, parent, whoever is helping you with this class wants you to work that out, then by all means work that out. And you can look at the solutions manual to see how far they take that. But this is the way I think they're going to write it in the solutions manual as well. Okay, so let's try another one. Use 4 unit multipliers to convert 125 square centimeters to square feet. So we're going to start with the number that they give us, 125 square centimeters. So again, that's centimeters squared, but it would be helpful to go ahead and list it as centimeters times centimeters. So if we can cancel, we're going to go to feet, okay, square feet. So I'm going to have 4 unit multipliers. And I'm going to end up with some number of square feet, okay? So let's think, what do we know about getting from centimeters to feet, okay? Ooh, I don't know anything about centimeters and feet. But like in the last problem, we knew something about centimeters, we said that, 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. That would get us to inches. And then we know how to get from inches to feet, right? So let's use 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. And again, we can do that as 1 inch over 2.54 centimeters, or we can do 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch. How do I know which one? Well, I need to cancel these out. So I really need centimeters down on the bottom. So let's go up here and see which one centimeters is on the bottom. So let's pick this one. Let's do 1 inch over 2.54 centimeters. That's going to cancel a centimeter with a centimeter. And we're stuck here, right? So let's do it again. Let's do another inch and 2.54 centimeters. And that'll cancel this with this. And then we end up with inches times inches, which is inches squared, or square inches. But we want square feet. So we're going to have to find these other two unit multipliers. What do we know about inches and feet? I'm going to erase these. What do you know? Do you know that 12 inches equals 1 foot? So you could write it like this, or you could write it like this. Either one of those is a unit multiplier because, again, it's equal to 1. This is equal to 1. Okay, not changing the value, just changing the way it looks. How do I know which one I want? Well, I need to cancel these inches, so I really need inches down here. So let's find the one that has inches down there. That would be this one. So let's do 1 foot over 12 inches. 1 foot over 12 inches. Now we can cancel an inch with an inch and an inch with an inch. And if you check your units, you've ended up here with, you've got feet times feet, which is going to be square feet. And you got a pretty long computation. So I'm going to write the answer down here. We've got 125 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, right? So I'm going to go back. That's just 125, so that's not too bad. But for your bottom number, okay, remember this is like over 1 if you think of it as a fraction. And I didn't write that on the last one, but you can think of that as making it a fraction so you can multiply them. Then you've got on the denominator here 2.54 times 2.54 times 12 times 12. And then once you did that entire computation, the unit would be square feet, okay? And that's how they leave the answer in the lesson. They leave it just like this. Now, if you were going to find the answer with your calculator, you would need to find this value first, and then save that value or remember that value or whatever, write it down, and then type in the 125 and divide by that value to get your what it's approximately equal to.